Hi everyone, my name is Alan Andreas. Welcome to Allenovation. So today I want to talk to you about why you should become a ServiceNow content creator. But before we get into that, I want to present some numbers to you. We have about 2,000, 7,000 plus, and 1 million plus. And so what do these numbers mean and why am I showing them to you right now? Well, 2,000 stands for the amount of ServiceNow partners roughly within the ecosystem. For 7,000, that's about how many ServiceNow customers have the platform in their environment. And then 1 million is the ServiceNow skilled goal by the end of 2024. And so what do all these numbers mean and what does it mean to you? Well, it really means how will you stand out? If you think about it logically, when you're applying for positions or working at a customer, working at a partner, how will you stand out from everyone else? Even today's numbers, while lower, how are you going to stand out? So the goals of this session is for you to learn more about the personal and professional benefits of creating content within the ServiceNow ecosystem. You're going to gain insight into important information that are going to help you get started. And then lastly, you're going to discover 12 advanced tips to help you level up your content creation game. So before we get into all of that, I wanted to quickly state very briefly why I got started. Why am I creating content? I had heard a statistic from someone that I know at ServiceNow that less than 10% of ServiceNow professionals regularly engage with content online. That means people watching videos, listening to podcasts, creating or reading articles. Less than 10% of everybody in the ecosystem is actually engaging with material. And so when I dug into that a bit further, there was lots of content out there, but it was all from the same sources. It was the same few people or same few channels doing the content, and that most of the content was developer or technical focused. And so this led to the content being presented in mostly the same way. So we're talking about screen sharing and then a ServiceNow instance, and then somebody saying, hey, today I'm going to show you how to write a business rule, and then it's them clicking around in an instance. I'm not saying that that's bad. I'm just saying that was the landscape or the state of the affairs with the ServiceNow community when I started creating content and getting into it. And this was a couple of years ago. And so I wanted to bring content to people in a different way, to show them different styles of ways of learning and different topics. Maybe a lot of my stuff is not all technical and developer focused. It's a wide variety, right? So to get into the personal benefits of creating content, the first thing is you need to not limit your challenges, but challenge your limits. So a lot of people, what this basically boils down to is do not be afraid, challenge yourself. This is going to allow you to have personal growth through gaining discipline. It's going to challenge yourself in that regard. It's going to allow you to have fulfillment of that itch. Maybe you're a you like doing design, you like doing audio editing, things like that. And maybe it's a creative outlet for you. So it's going to help you personally grow in a multitude of ways. It's going to allow you to express your passion for the ServiceNow platform. And then really networking, recognition, and visibility, because you're giving back to the ecosystem, the community, you're making a difference. And so these three things are kind of byproducts of what you'll get from a personal level on creating content. For professional benefits of creating content, it's going to help you boost your career. I'm talking about adding rocket fuel literally to your career trajectory when you start creating content. It's going to help you stand out, and it's going to help you with career advancement. Then it's going to allow you to create knowledge sharing opportunities within and outside of your organization. Just by you creating content, people are saying, hey, this person loves to talk about the platform. They love sharing knowledge. They want to engage with you. They're going to seek you out for your advice on things. Maybe it's something they're dealing with. So you literally start to create this kind of aura of knowledge sharing opportunities by creating content. Then it's going to allow you to establish yourself as a thought leader. Now, you can't just rehash material that's already been covered, but maybe you use it as inspiration and then you build upon that. What's your perspective? What's your angle on it? What are your thoughts on it? And then new topics, brand new, artificial intelligence, things like that. How do you see this thing playing out? Provide some thought leadership in the community, and it's going to make yourself established, right? And then it's going to give you a competitive advantage. Job searching, looking at things, you're going to be compared between someone on your left and right and many others. How do you stand out? Things like Certified Master Architect. The reason why I mentioned that certification specifically is that we as Certified Master Architects don't have a Delta exam. You have maintenance points, and as part of those maintenance points, you need to be doing thought leadership, creating content, doing videos, doing events, things like that. And so this is going to help you get not only CMA, but see the benefits of doing that and give you a competitive advantage against others. When you have on your resume, if I had 2 resumes side by side, and one said they do business rules and client scripts and all that good stuff, and then the other one said they do the same thing, but they also give their own opinion on things and articles, they do videos, they've been on a guest speaker for things, stuff like that, you're going to stand out. And then lastly, it's around brand building. Another intricate piece of being within the ServiceNow ecosystem and standing out is establishing yourself as your own brand. But then even for organizations, if you're in a leadership position at a company and you want to look into getting people motivated about creating content, your logo, your branding will be on those articles, those videos, and you are going to show others within the ecosystem, hey, come to us. We do knowledge sharing. We love highlighting our personnel and our team members. And here's what we're talking about. This is why we're advanced and forward thinking, right? So when do you see the benefits? I have a lot of people say, hey, that's great, Alan. You're selling me on doing content, but what do I get out of it? How fast do I get out of it? Get things out of it. And so really, it is a fast return on investment within the ServiceNow ecosystem specifically. It does not take years, but merely months to start to benefit from creating content. I've seen numerous people brand new to the ecosystem, 3 months in, 6 months in, and they start creating content about things they've learned on the platform. Instantly, they're starting to be recognized. People are pointing to them. It's actually helping them get jobs, because I would love to see, for me, if I'm hiring, and I do a lot of interviews and myself for my team members and my organization, I want to see people that are just excited, motivated, dedicated, they're focused, they're sharing knowledge, they're happy, they're going about things in the right way. This is what companies are looking for, and so you will, I promise you, you will see a return on investment very fast. It does not take years to benefit. So important information to help you get started in these areas is, firstly, you need to have the right mindset. And so components of having the right mindset is that you need to do it for the right reasons. So know why you're creating content, not because Alan said so or you think it's cool or whatever. Do it for the right reasons. Are you doing it as part of your passion? Are you giving back to the ecosystem for taking knowledge from others and helping you get to where you are today? Maybe you're giving back. You're probably not going to be famous. So if that was a mindset where you think you're going to be super famous, you're not going to be. So sorry about that. ServiceNow itself is a niche application. And really, even if you look at the community and developer channels, YouTube channels for ServiceNow, they only have about 20,000 subscribers. So if you're thinking you're going to have this gold YouTube plaque on your wall and all of that, it's not going to happen. That takes like 100,000 subscribers. No one's done that yet. Maybe you'll be the first. I don't know. But for now, not likely. But you do it for the right reasons, right? That's why you need to be doing it. The other thing is that you're going to struggle. I know this isn't like, wow, I thought he was going to say it was rainbows and sunshine. Now he's, you will struggle creating content. It's going to be tough to keep coming up with ideas. It's going to be tough to keep editing. It's going to be tough to keep publishing. So you're going to struggle. And so the main thing is to stick with it. And again, having the right mindset and doing it for the right reasons will help you persevere and push through that wall. Now, to help you get started in another way, you need to plan. So you got the right mindset now. Now you need to plan correctly. And so you need to be prepared to log and capture your ideas. For myself, just to give you a little behind the scenes on me, when I create content, I have folders. I have a season 1, a season 2, etc. That's what I call kind of my years of creation of content, season 1, season 2, etc. Inside those folders, I have subfolders that are all of the different topic ideas that I'm looking to create content for. I may not be ready to talk about it today or tomorrow, but I know it's something I do want to cover, and so I'll create folders within that season area, and then I'll put and drag and drop in files and images and things like that that have to do with what I'm looking to accomplish for that video. And so dragging that material in there, when I am ready to cover it, now I've got a folder of all these different pieces of information that'll help me create the content. So nowadays, you can have a notes app on your phone and just have that ready to go, right? If you're out and about, maybe you're in a drive-through at a fast food restaurant and you're thinking to yourself, something just hits you, oh man, I wish ServiceNow was involved in this. It would help the line go so much faster, right? Or if you're in a healthcare scenario in a waiting room, maybe you come up with an idea of how ServiceNow could help out. Have a notepad ready to go, open it up, type in your notes, get it all ready, and then you're setting yourself up for a content idea, right? Now you know what you're talking about. The other thing is to set realistic goals. So start easy and know your limits. You are the only one that is setting the expectation for how fast and soon you create content. No one else is going to go, hey, that person started creating content and they should do it every single week. No one will know that. You are the one saying you're going to do this, right? So start out easy. A lot of people overshoot themselves and overstate themselves in the beginning and say every single week I'm going to be able to do a new article, and then every other week I'm going to do a video. You're going to burn yourself out. So start easy, know your limits, maybe do things once a month. And then if you get a good flow going, then move it to bi-weekly or something like that, right? Additionally, keep accessibility in mind. Consider the wider audience, right? So you may have people that can't hear, and so having closed captions on your videos help you reach that different audience. And then maybe for articles and blogs and you have images in it, maybe people can't see, right? They're blind or something else. So you need to be able to create alternative text on those images so that their screen readers and stuff can read that information out to people who's reading it. And it shows that you're more prepared if you have closed captioning, things like that. It allows people to consume it at their own pace versus having to try to follow along with alternative text and other things like that. It helps you out with that area. Maintain consistency. This is a big thing, right? You try something and then you completely switch it up, and then you completely switch it again, and you completely switch it again. And so the big thing is really having things in a templatized fashion. So make things easier for yourself to create the content by creating a template and using that as a basic foundation for what you're doing. And then think about scalability, right, for your brand. Don't name your channel or your article website or whatever it may be something that only pertains today, right? Like maybe you call your channel ServiceNow Low Code with Kyle, right? Something like that. Well, if you're doing other things later and you're talking about, scripting and JSON and all that kind of stuff, then you're setting yourself up for having a wonky kind of situation because you made your content seem like it was going to be around this one brand, and now you're doing other things. And so you want to have scalability there and make sure that your brand, you think about the future with what you're trying to do. Maybe you call it something that it can scale well. The next thing I want to talk to you about is the ServiceNow ecosystem pyramid. This is going to help you choose a topic. A lot of people come to me and say, hey, Alan, I want to get involved. I'm excited to do it, but I don't know what to cover. I don't know what to talk about. And so really, I break it down in this way. And so at level 4, at the bottom of the pyramid, where most people are at, it's going to be people in that 0 to 2 year area. They're talking about training. They're interested in training, ITSM, core fundamentals, foundational pieces of the platform, and getting their CSA. That's the main area where a lot of people stay at, especially with ITSM being a big bubble that a lot of people stay in. Then you have level 3, which is your inquisitive folks. They've kind of graduated a bit out of that ITSM area. They've got about 2 to 3 years of experience at this point. They're looking at multiple certifications. They're now getting into custom applications, so getting a little bit familiar with the platform, and now they're spreading their wings a little bit, and they're interested in other applications such as customer service management and HR something like that. ITOM, IT operations, discovery, service mapping. That's kind of where you're going to start to see people here. Then at level 2, really this is your seasoned folk. They're greater than 3 years of experience on the platform. Now we're starting to talk about things that are a bit more fringe area slightly. SecOps, IRM, architecture, both enterprise and platform architecture, application extension, so not just creating a custom application, but taking a baseline application and then extending that functionality so you don't have to do that, creating that custom app. Process mining, RPA, so bots and things like that, and then CSDM. So that's going to be a guidance for level 2. And then the last piece here is really what I would like to call this kind of niche within a niche or niche within a niche. This is people greater than 5 years, your CTA, CMA folk. These are going to be people that are AI, machine learning focused, enterprise architecture, definitely more in that area. Governance, now you're talking about operating models and all of that. So when you're thinking about how to choose a topic, maybe this will help you kind of give an idea of where you want to focus on, and maybe you do want to be in that more seasoned category because that's exciting to you, which is fine. I'm just breaking this down and kind of showing. So to level up your content creation game, I assume that you do, or you're excited now about creating content. I'm going to give you these 12 tips and lessons learned from myself. So the first thing is conduct research. So before you start to do a video or an article about a set topic, see if anyone else has already covered it. If you got inspiration from another source, cite the source, give credit where it's due, but don't be afraid to still talk about that subject, but give it your own perspective, give it your own spin and your own take on it. So I don't want to say don't cover it, but just conduct research first before it seems like you're kind of directly copying someone else. Continuous improvement, right? So you're going to get feedback from people. Hey, you should put more images in your stuff. Hey, maybe I couldn't hear you. Turn the volume up. Things like that. Be prepared for continuous improvement and being able to adapt to that. So whatever you do first may not be perfect, obviously, right? So continuous improvement is very important. Limit your website or channel to ServiceNow. I've seen this several times within the ecosystem, is that people will create websites or YouTube channels, and they start to talk about not only ServiceNow, but then they start doing other things. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but the problem is that people subscribe to your channel for a particular purpose, whether that was ServiceNow or whatever. And now you've got all these different videos. Maybe you're doing stuff on travel and you're doing, cool sites to see when you visit Las Vegas, or maybe going over here, or maybe you start covering yard work or landscaping for some reason, or you're doing things like IT work or building a computer or something like that, right? Keep your content to ServiceNow for that specific channel, but then create another channel to house all of that other stuff. I'm not saying don't do it, but keep your content to ServiceNow on the main channel or main website that you're doing. And then be concise, right? Videos less than 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and articles 1,000 words or less is really where you kind of want to be. I have a problem trying to create videos less than 3 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm a freaking chatterbox. I talk a lot. So that's hard for me to do, but maybe for you, that's your bread and butter and you're actually excited about that. So videos 3 minutes and 30 seconds or less tend to do better on YouTube, for example. Explain the value, or WIFM, and WIFM stands for what's in it for me. Explain the value to the person watching or listening or reading, what they're going to get out of it, so that they know you're setting the tone. And then being loud doesn't mean that you're right. A lot of people think, well, if they're just talking very loud or overly animated, or they're typing in all caps, that it is going to make you stand out. It will, but it may not be in the right way. And you're definitely does not mean that you know what you're talking about and that you're right. Of course, you need to stay up to date on ServiceNow. This should go without saying, but if you're going to get into content creation, staying up to date on ServiceNow is very important. And then when you're doing content, give examples. So if you're talking about how to write a business rule or a client script or a flow or whatever, make sure you give screenshots if it's an article, or if it's a video, do a walkthrough or podcast, talk a bit more about it. Call to action. What do you want people to do from watching your video, listening to your content, reading your article? Have something that you're calling them to do. Tell them what they should be doing next. and then learn your style. You will learn your own style as you go along, and you'll say, okay, yeah, that one didn't work the first time, and then you'll really start to get into a vibe and a flow. You're going to be open to learning as you go. And then be mindful of hot takes. There's a few people within the ServiceNow community that sometimes they kind of bash on things or talk about things in a negative way. And so we love that. We love hearing constructive criticism, but let's keep it in a professional manner. Let's talk about the problem and then what is your solution to it. Don't just talk about, hey, the Delta exams are all busted and this and that, right? Let's talk about what we can do about it. You can mention that, but then say, hey, and I also reached out to ServiceNow and they're looking into it, or whatever, right? That's just an example. Let's help the community out by talking about these things, but be mindful of the hot takes and how you're kind of aggressively talking about stuff. And then lastly, for 12 tips, incorporate a logo. That shows that you're a bit more professional with what you're doing. And then an advanced tip beyond that is consider apparel. Maybe down the road you create your own t-shirts. I have that for Allonovation. This past Knowledge Conference, I brought 5 t-shirts unannounced and handed them out to people that told me that they love the channel, they're subscribed, they watch it. They didn't know that I was going to have those shirts on them, and I gave them a t-shirt right away. So having that apparel helps kind of spread your brand out, and plus it's kind of neat to see something you created and did is now on a shirt or a pin or a hat or whatever, right? And one extra bonus tip: you cannot please everyone. This is a big issue out there where people are thinking, man, I got to do it perfect. I've got to please everybody. You can't please everyone. Don't try to please everyone. You won't please everyone. So do what you do and stick with it. So let's recap the key takeaways. You've learned many professional and personal benefits that give you fast ROI. You've understood and learned how you should do this for the right reasons and that you should stick with it. And that you've lastly learned how to do research, listen for feedback, be concise, and state the value to the reader, the listener, whatever it may be. All right, so now what should you do, right? We've learned all this great stuff, and so now you really need to get started. And so you need to understand that it's not going to be perfect when you get started, right? But it doesn't have to be, and that you really need to do this and stand out from the crowd. So once again, my name is Alan Andreas, host at Allonovation, and until next time, take care.